Yes, bravo, bravo, you communist son of a son. That's standing ovation coming from America's top business leaders who mingled with Xi Jinping, the group including folks like Apple's Tim Cook, Larry Fink from BlackRock.
And while Xi covered pressing topics like panda bear diplomacy, he failed to address trade and investment. One business executive in attendance told the Wall Street Journal it was propaganda at its finest.
No surprise there. Let's bring in chief economist at FreedomWorks and co-founder of the Committee to Unleash Prosperity, Steve Moore. Steve, the surprising thing is that all these business leaders, Steve Schwarzman was there, sitting at the head table with Xi, went, and Xi apparently didn't talk about investment or trade. So what was the whole point?
Well, I'm disgusted by this. And Dagan, you know me a long time. I'm a free market guy. I do believe in free trade, and I want global cooperation. But you don't cooperate with a tyrant. China is America's enemy. They are an adversary, not an ally. They're cheating. They're stealing. They have become a military menace across Asia. I mean, this would be like celebrating Hitler. Now, I'm not going to say that, President Xi is Hitler, but China is building their military. They don't play by the rules. They're hurting the American economy in so many ways. So I find it disgusting. And, there's just a lack of patriotism on the part of many of these American company CEOs. What else could I say?
Sean, you want to jump in and ask Steve a question?
Yeah, I lost Steve for a second there. Steve, what I find interesting is, as we mentioned, one individual called this complete propaganda, Steve. But Xi actually came out and said, you know what, I'm a leader of the people. As a dictator, I don't know that the people would actually agree with you're the leader of the people. You're a dictator and a thug for the people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's exactly right. I mean, I don't know if they have open and free elections, but what's happening in China right now in terms of the freedom, it's a very sad story. I mean, you guys know this. You would think that these CEOs of major American companies would be smart enough to know that, from around 1980 through the early 2000s, China was on a march towards freedom and free enterprise. And then it stopped with President Xi. And he has basically moved them more towards a militaristic and a country that basically is predatory. And you can't, why is it that these American companies don't understand that they're going to be the victims of this, right? Sean and Dagan, they're going to eventually, it reminds me of when Khrushchev came to America. And by the way, Biden has been pathetic too. He's appeasing this terrible leader. Appeasement never gets you anywhere. It's like the Europeans in 1938 and 39 appeasing, the Germans right before they marched right into their front yard.
Knowing that Communist China is raiding, investigating, and detaining Western firms in China. I want to go to this. Turning to this Starbucks, finding itself caught up in the season of strikes as workers walked out on what's said to be one of the busiest days of the year, Red Cup Day.
Customers don't know that there's even a union, don't know the workers are standing up, and they believe, like I did, that Starbucks is a progressive company and that they're standing up for the environment and for, people and justice, and the reality is they're not.
We've been dealing with a lot of issues ongoing in the store, whether that's staffing issues, it'll make a big difference in our life, if we start to see some changes.
One worker in St. Louis clearly feeling emboldened by all the other strikes, declaring, quote, "It's clear company officials haven't paid attention to the news. They offered 3% when auto workers just won 25% pay raises after weeks of striking." Steve, 360 Starbucks stores have decided to organize under unions. There are 17,000 stores in North America, and they think they deserve a 25% raise. Shove it.
Well, look, I'm in favor. I don't have a problem with unions. If they want to walk off the job and strike, they have the right to do this. As a free country. I think they're making a mistake because guess what? You're going to have the union bosses taking a lot of that money right out of their paychecks. Oftentimes it's 7 or 8% that's just taken right off the top. But look, there's a risk, too, that you cripple the companies you work for. And guess what? You don't have a job after that. So they better be careful. I'm in favor of workers getting higher pay, no question about it. But let's not forget that the reason these workers are so angry is because Joe Biden took up the inflation rate to 9%. Everything's 20% more expensive today than it was when Trump left office. Yeah, workers are pissed off, and they should be.
Starbucks workers make tips, too. BTW.
Yeah, that's true.
Steve Moore, good to see you.
do.
Thank you, sir.